All right, for this craft, you have to draw the nativity scene of Mary, Joseph, and baby Jesus in the stable. And I know that looked a little difficult, so I wanted to go over it a little bit slower, and I wanted to draw it on the white paper. Of course, you're
I can't do it.
Welcome to week 4 of Vacation Bible School. This week you learned about the birth of Jesus and Mary. And so we're going to draw a scene that's probably very familiar to you. A scene of Mary, baby Jesus, and Joseph in the stable. If you got a craft packet, you have a blue piece of paper and some chalk. Anything else you'll need is just a crayon. I think a black crayon works best. If you don't have a black crayon, just use a dark crayon, a really dark crayon, and a glass of water. If you didn't receive a craft packet, just use your own blue paper, a black paper, or some other dark paper would work. If you don't have those colors, a white paper is going to look fine as well. It's just going to look slightly different. And your own chalk. If you only have the sidewalk chalk kind, that's fine. It's going to work out just as good. We're going to go through each step. I know it looks a little intimidating, like there's a lot of detail, but it's a really easy craft to do, and I know you all can make it look beautiful. All right, so the first step in making our nativity scene is we're going to do the ground. And we're going to think about our paper being divided into 3 sections. 1/3, 2/3, 3/3. And the ground is going to be basically here on the bottom third of your paper. I'm going to take my blue. I also probably will want to use some purple crayons. Now remember, this isn't a picture where it's in the day. It would be a picture of this scene at night. And so everything is going to be kind of dark and moody. And if you saw, I dipped my chalk in the water, and it really adds a neat effect. It kind of takes a second for it to appear, but when it does appear, it kind of has a stronger, darker, sharper line. And I'm just kind of doing a little bit of each color, because as you know, with chalk, it's really cool because you can blend the colors together. You kind of want to just do a little bit of each color blending into the other color. We don't need to cover the whole thing with chalk because we're going to leave some of this dark blue. Now as you see, I'm just blending this all together with my finger. Alright, so now we're going to make it look like light is coming out from the center of our picture, because this is where we're going to draw the stable. We're going to have the light here in the middle, and we're just going to kind of radiate out. And you can make your light go all the way to the edges of your paper, but I'm going to kind of have it blend into the blue. Again, I'm going to dip my color into some water. I'm starting with the yellow. And again, with chalk, you don't need to make it precise because you want it to have that blurred look. And then I'm going to just do some radiating yellow out. I'm going to make these a little bit darker. This almost looks like a sun, but it isn't necessarily a sun. Then I'm going to add a little bit of orange. And a little bit more. And your colors may be a little bit different, and you may want to draw it a little bit differently, and that's fine. That's the great thing about art, is you can do it any way you want. And then as you go, of course, you're going to blend again. And since we have such a dark background, you may have to do it several times, add several layers of the color. So again, I'm going to just go back over it. Now that we have the background of our picture, we need to draw the actual nativity scene. And I'm going to draw it really quickly, but don't worry. After this, I'm going to go into a slower, more detailed example of how to do this. So this is what it's going to look like on the blue with your chalk. I'm going to give you an example on white paper so you can see it more clearly. This is just a quick drawing, and you'll see a better detail in just a second. As you can see, it's basically just a house. And draw down the middle. And draw off the sides. I'm gonna make it a little bit thicker. This is just a stable. And remember, a stable wouldn't be perfect. It would probably be a little lopsided. It'd be a little crooked. And that's what the stable looks like. And it's actually just more of a silhouette, and that is where you just see the outline. And so I'm okay with it being a little crooked. So now that we have the stable, now we need to add our baby Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. And again, don't worry, I'm going quickly here. I'll go slower later. We're adding our manger and our baby Jesus. And again, we're just drawing silhouette. So it doesn't have lots of details. It's more of just the shape of what the scene is about. There's Mary, and she's kneeling. There's Joseph. Joseph would be standing up, so he would be taller. These are just shapes. Remember, drawing is all about just shapes. So it's actually very easy. Again, it's just a shape of a head and a body. And here's this, I'm gonna have them hold a step. All right, I'm gonna add a few more details and then stay tuned just in a moment to see how you can do this. For this craft, I drew the nativity scene. Mary, baby Jesus, and Joseph in the stable. And I know it looked scary and it looked difficult, but it actually is very easy. So I wanted to go over it again, how to draw it on a white piece of paper so you can see it clearly. We're going to start off by first drawing the stable. And this is probably the easiest part of the whole thing. We're going to draw a three-sided squarish rectangle. And then we're going to draw the roof. I don't want it to be a tall, pointy roof. I want it to be a little bit more shallow of a roof. So I'm going to start here. I'm going to go up. I'm going to go down. And then I'm going to draw the middle line down the middle. And then I'm going to draw two sides. And then, because we want it to look a little more substantial, especially on the blue piece of paper that you will be drawing this on, you want to go over it a couple times. And if you notice, I'm not trying to make it perfectly square. I'm not trying to make it perfectly beautiful, because this is supposed to be a stable. So this stable would have been a little bit rickety, and I think we want our drawing to reflect that. Now, as you can see, simple and easy. Now we're going to draw baby Jesus. And I know that even sounds scary, but really we're just drawing a silhouette of it. So we're going to start first with the manger. And that is just a little half circle, right? Just like that. And then we're going to draw the legs of the manger. So far this is just some basic shapes, no big deal. We're going to draw a circle here for baby Jesus' head, and then his body. Like I said, this isn't the kind of thing where it needs to look realistic. This is supposed to be a silhouette of baby Jesus in the manger. And that looks like a baby in a manger. If you wanted to make your manger a little bit bigger, or if you decide you want yours to be more squared, this is your art, so you can make it any way you want. Next, we're going to draw Mary. And Mary's going to be a head. She's just a round circle. It's going to be a triangle down like this. We're going to fill in this triangle. Now I'm going to round the triangle off a little bit. This is going to be her kneeling on the ground. And if you remember a lot of the pictures we've seen, or even in our pageants, Mary usually has a head piece on. So we're just going to draw that, and that's just going to kind of look like, almost like what hair would look like, or something else to reflect that it looks like Mary. And then I thought it would be nice to have Mary praying. So I'm going to just put her hands up like that. And it looks like she's praying. And that was super easy, but look how much that could look like a silhouette of Mary. Now Joseph is again a circle for the head and a triangle for the bottom. Fill it in. And a lot of times we have Joseph with a little bit of a headpiece too, so I'm going to put a little bit on his as well. And then a lot of times we see him with the staff, the sheep staff, and I thought that would be neat to add that to him. And then just an arm up holding it. So you can see this is really a basic drawing, but it really does give you the impression of Mary, baby Jesus, and Joseph in a stable. So now I have my nativity scene drawn. You have learned how to do this yourself. So now I'm going to just add some few final details where I'm going to touch up a few things, and maybe yours is already perfect, but I wanted to add a few more. I'm going to add a few more shapes to my ground. And as you remember, I dip it in the water and it helps make it stand out. And as you draw it, you might notice that sometimes it's a little bit more wet than others. Don't worry about it, it will dry just like it's supposed to, so don't worry about that. I'm going to add a few more lines to make it stand out a little bit more. And if you want it to be crisper, don't do as much blending. So blending is how it kind of blends in. And I want a few lines that don't blend into the background as much. And then since I'm going to have this be a night sky, I'm going to draw some stars off. And then I'm going to draw one big star. One is just basically an X. And draw little lines coming out of the X. You can draw little dots coming out of it. Like I said, you can add more detail until you're happy, but I'm pretty happy with the way this is. Thanks for joining me again this week. Happy crafting.